What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Hero Podcast. This is episode 2, and I'm joined by my co-host Alex Masono, hanging out with me. And today's topic is going to focus on the state of games this year in 2024 in regards to how the first half of this year has looked in terms of major titles, what could be possible game of the year contenders, talk about good and bad games that, flop basically, and ones that really sold well, things like that, and how the last half of this year is shaping up to be. And because some people say like, oh, this year has not been really great for games, or it's been a lower in game quality and whatnot. But honestly, no, we've had some really good bangers. We have some really good ones. I feel like this year has been the year for the indies to shine more and third parties to shine more rather than the first party exclusives. So also for those that do end up watching this on YouTube, before we go further, make sure you check out links in the description below. Check out the Patreon link as well as our links, because this podcast is usually shown off on the Patreon first as an early exclusive, and then comes to YouTube later on. So if you want to go above and beyond, be part of the backbone of the channel, help out with the Patreon, that helps out a lot. Very much appreciated. All right, so Alex, we are going to get into the first month this year, January, which I would say wasn't too much heavy hitters. There was Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Tekken 8. Trying to think, was there anything else really that was a heavy hitter or major in January? But I think those are the two big ones.
Not really, because the only other things that I would like to see is maybe Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown,
Right.
and
And
maybe The Last of Us Part 2, but that's just it being remastered.
yeah, it's a PC
PS5?
release, I think, too, right?
No, it's just PS5 from what I can see.
Oh wait,
Um,
yeah, you're right. No, I don't
it's
count
Part
that
2
one.
being remastered.
Yeah,
Like,
nah,
without that being a remaster, really, like, at least for us,
yeah.
the massive, like, 2 major hitting games that came out would be Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth and Tekken 8.
Mhm. Yeah. And Like a Dragon Wolf really sold well. I still have to actually go back, and I have to actually beat that. I need to go back to the 7 games. I was doing a playthrough of that as well too. But
I
that,
still need to play it.
yeah, that's true. For those that don't know, me and Alex are big Yakuza fans. We've pretty much played them all. I'm just going back to the 7th game because I'm playing the PS5 version and just want to do a different playthrough where I just unlock more of the side stuff overall, content overall. Um, but yeah, I think Like Dragon from Wealth at least could get RPG of the year, like maybe nominated for that.
I
Really,
see a nomination. I don't see
mm,
it winning,
yeah,
namely because of what we're going to go into later on,
true.
which is its own little. You'll understand when we get there.
Oh yeah, no problem, no problem. Yeah, I don't think it's that Like a Dragon game. Not sure if it'd ever be a game of the year contender, but RPG of the year possibly, maybe. But very good game when it came out. Sold very well. Continues to sell very well. Tekken 8, great fighting game series. Honestly, that's the big fighting game of the year, and I don't see anything else beating that for fighting game of the year. To be real.
I honestly don't like, even with like, if Street Fighter 6 could be in the running for it, I don't see it winning.
No.
Namely because when Street Fighter 6 came out, there was a lot of issues with it.
Well, Street Fighter 6 was last year anyway, too. Wasn't
Well,
this
yeah,
year.
but I'm just saying, like, if it
Mhm.
was in the contending, like,
Oh, okay.
Street Fighter 6 had a lot of issues when it came out.
Yeah.
I didn't hear as many issues for Tekken 8 as there was for Street Fighter 6.
If you're talking about technical issues, yes.
Yeah, like technical issues and just all around, like, just issues with the game. Not a lot came out with
Hmm.
Tekken 8, unlike
Hmm.
with Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
Plus, I feel like Tekken itself, I mean, between Street Fighter and Tekken
Hmm.
itself, I feel, in my opinion, is one of the more heavier hitting fighting games,
Hmm.
with Street Fighter behind it, and then like Soul Calibur in a sense behind that.
Yeah. So yeah, January was a light month overall. I feel like in terms of big hitters. February gets a little bigger, like really bigger, because we got Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, Suicide Squad Kill Justice League, which honestly was a flop. Persona 3 Reload,
Massive.
yeah, massive flop. Persona 3 Reload, which is technically a
Helldivers
remake.
2,
Hmm.
uh,
Um,
the Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered as well.
yeah, Banishers Ghost of New Eden, which was a new IP, I believe from was it Dope Not? I may have to check on the developer on that.
That I don't remember.
Hold on. Banishers Ghost of Eden. Still gotta get that and play that. But that did fairly well, but I don't think that's gonna be Game of the Year contender. Yeah, it is Dontnod, the developer. Um, and then Final
Rebirth.
Fantasy VII Rebirth. Yeah, sorry, for
That
some
is
reason I
why I
blanked out.
said so Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the reason why I said Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth would be a contender, but it wouldn't win.
Yeah,
I see
yeah.
Rebirth, if it doesn't win Game of the Year as well,
hmm
I see it winning at least RPG of the Year.
As of right now, my Game of the Year is still Rebirth, and the last time I checked too, you can double check me on this too when it comes to like overall best reviewed games. Rebirth is the best reviewed game overall from a critical standpoint, and I think from
That
a
I would not
consumer
doubt.
standpoint as well. That to me, as of right now, unless something comes out the last 6 months that really just knocks people's socks off in a sense, I have a hard time seeing that not win Game of the Year.
I see
Just
Rebirth winning Game of the Year, absolutely. And it's
yeah,
definitely a high contender for RPG of the Year. But
yeah,
there's another game
hmm
on the list of what has come out recently that will also be a high contender
okay,
for RPG.
full game,
Yep.
okay. The only other thing you mentioned, what we mentioned earlier, was Helldivers 2. That honestly, I see can be in maybe multiplayer of the year or maybe best community of the year type of game of the best
I
community.
nope, I don't see best community. Okay,
Okay,
so hold on. I see a contender for best community because of the fact that there was an event that happened on Helldivers 2 where
hmm
you can either go do this and like get a new weapon type thing, or you could go
yeah,
save children. And the entire community said, fuck the weapon. We want to save the kids.
exactly.
And the actual CEO was like, bet, and donated money
hmm
to an actual charity that helps children, which is
Yep,
fantastic in my opinion.
yeah,
That I can see putting it on like a contender for best community. But once again, best community, as much as I don't hate to say it, Final Fantasy 14 and Warframe are still going to be the top two contenders
hmm
for best community of the year. It's
yeah.
always going to be those two that are like top tier every single year because you very rarely get any type of toxic player
hmm
in that game.
This is true. This is true.
So
A lot of helpful people.
I see that being
hmm
I see it being a contender, but I
Yeah,
still see either 14 or Warframe winning community of the year.
that's fair. And the other category I think Game Awards does is like I think like ongoing game or something like that, or online ongoing game,
I think it's like
something like
best
that.
ongoing or like the best expansion that came out or something like that. Like kind of like in that range.
hmm
And again, 14 most likely will win it because God
Yeah.
forbid 14 is still lining everything up and just taking shots
Oh
and
yeah.
going down. Like
We'll get and
they
we'll.
are winning pretty much everything in that standpoint. And
hmm
again, Warframe is also going to be up there as a top contender
Yeah.
for a game that is continuously updating, continuously pushing out content, just
Yeah.
constantly going up there.
Let's also, well, I don't know if they would take this into account. I forget if Game Awards takes early access into account because we also can't forget about Power World as an indie game technically released, but it's not full release. I'm not sure if they would count. I don't think that would be brought up. Um,
It might, but I can't guarantee for sure.
yeah, I would give a nod to Last Epoch since it did came out early access release back February as possible like indie game of the year contender possibly, or even maybe nominated in RPG of the year because it does some good RPG stuff in terms of game mechanics and elements.
Yeah.
I've played like roughly 2 hours of it and already was impressed that it has better in-game mechanics than Diablo 4, for example. Like it just
Oh
has
God, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, and that's the game I'm hoping that we can play together someday as well. Um, moving on here to March. Now, guys, don't worry. We'll talk about some other indie titles here because this has been a year of very good indie titles so far.
Oh God,
Uh,
yeah.
Now let's see here for March. That was kind of a quiet month. I'm double checking here the list.
I mean,
Um,
the thing that I'm happy about that came from us was the Grandia HD collection because if those of
True.
you who have never played the Grandia games, one I will say in the very beginning is kind of lackluster. I haven't progressed past like the beginning part of it.
Mhm,
But for what I've played of it, it's still pretty okay. But 2 and 3, namely 2,
mhm.
fantastic. They are fantastic as games.
All right, I found the three that I want to bring up here. First, Glow in the Dark. Well, I gotta. It's tough to talk about this because I feel bad for the devs. So if you don't know, Alone in the Dark devs essentially got shut down because the game did not perform well in sales, like to expectations. And the game, but I've heard the game's pretty solid. The reboot, remake of this, they're trying to bring this series back, and had a famous actor in it as well.
Mhm.
Actually, a couple famous actors. So, and I was kind of surprised. I thought it would sell a bit more, and maybe something that could have affected it was because I know there's been a few bad Alone in the Dark games in the past, and maybe there was some confusion, or maybe there was some people thinking like, it might be bad like the other ones in the past that weren't the original or sequel. But yeah, because there's been a couple bad Alone in the Dark games, so maybe that hindered it. Maybe there wasn't enough marketing. I don't know. Didn't really see a lot of people playing this too, though. Honestly, when I was like watch people on Twitch and things like that and YouTube, didn't really see a ton of people playing this. At least that I usually check out or would occasionally show up on my feed. So maybe that was the issue. Maybe this wasn't that popular. Um,
Another game as well would be Unicorn Overlord.
yeah, that actually got a lot of buzz.
Oh yeah, it did.
That did. That could be RPG of the year nom as well. I would say.
That I see that being a top contender for it as well, honestly.
Mhm.
Unicorn Overlord.
I would say the two big heavy hitters for March is Dragon's Dogma 2, or at
Yep.
least was Dragon's Dogma 2 and Rise of the Ronin, you can argue, from Team Ninja. Despite Dragon's Dogma 2's technical issues both on PC and console that are still having some issues to this day, it sold extremely well. Still sells extremely well. I think what 3 million or so copies.
Oh
Uh,
god, I forget the
mhm.
actual amount, but it was quite a bit.
Look it up real quick, but yeah, and then Rise of the Ronin also has been selling really well too. Let me double check here real quick.
Doo, 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 doo.
All right, so Dragon's Dogma 2 looks like the recent report is 2.5 million, but that was from April. But I could have sworn it was up to 3 million. And then let's check Rise of the Ronin. Uh, this report's from April as well. It looks like not an exact number given, but hmm. I thought it was selling well too. I could have sworn I did a video on this too not too long ago. Oh, 5 million copies. It looks like. Well, no, sorry. Koei Tecmo expected Rise of the Ronin to sell around 5 million copies. But we don't know the exact number. Looks like maybe they're disappointed in sales. Weird. But then I got another report that says Rise of Ronin has become Koei Tecmo's fastest selling game.
Yeah.
So that's got all right reviews. It's got some issues from what I've read and heard. Some reviewers, it's basically got a lot of mixed reception. But then, at least from a critical standpoint, but then apparently a lot of the casual audience loves it. So that could be another Game of the Year contender or RPG of the Year contender. Um, it suffers from a lot of loot issues though. It's like a lot of the past games they've done with Neo 2, Wulong, like this. I don't know. Team Ninja has a weird issue where they just love to just put too much useless loot in the game.
I yeah, but the thing is it's just I'd rather have a lot of useless loot then have microtransactions that give you loot to pretty much become a god within the first 5 seconds of the game.
That's fair. That's fair. Um, Dragon's Dogma 2, despite its issues and my own personal issue with the game, because it's crashed a lot on me, it's had other issues with frame rates, things like that. I played a PC version. I'm still waiting for that thing to get patched, officially updated to the point where it's just like the technical issues are just almost gone altogether. I got frustrated to the point of where like I in my mind I beat it, I was done, but I know I didn't technically beat it because there was this extra stuff they want you to do, and then I got locked into the end game without realizing. I'm like, what the hell? And then I couldn't go
Yeah,
back, so I wasn't
that's how it
expecting that.
goes.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, per se. So yeah, I don't know. It was weird. Still think it's a good game, but it just needs a lot more work and love to. And I know modders have tried to help in their own way too with it, but I don't know. It's
They're
still,
doing what they can at least.
yeah. Let's see. Next up, April. Not too many here either. I know
The
Stellar
most
Blade.
for April would be Sandland,
Hmm.
Celebrate, as you were saying, Mana Lords, and
Yeah.
my own personal preference, Skur Ritual.
Wait a minute. Let's talk about that. So if you know more on that than I do, yeah. Let's talk. Why
So,
you?
Skur Ritual, for those of you who have loved zombies in Call of Duty, not the newer crap that we're dealing with, but like the older, the Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, World at
Hmm.
War, stuff like that. If you enjoyed that as a game, Skull Ritual is pretty much that. It is round based. It's pretty much all that you did Call of Duty wise,
Hmm.
just like as its own game now. Because as I said,
Okay.
an intense round-based zombie survival FPS, play solo or co-op, shoot your way through relentless waves of vicious horrors with high octane objectives, upgrading steampunk weapons,
Hmm.
collecting Celtic god powers, and surviving the onslaught of the quiet ones, aka just the zombies, just like the enemies that you're facing, the
Right.
zombies. And Skull Ritual in itself, as people have like commented on it, like a review from Boss Level Gamer,
Hmm.
Skull Ritual combines Resident Evil and COD zombies into gory perfection.
Okay. Very nice.
Esports.net. Players must join forces to contend with a Call of Duty Zombies like experience that
Oh.
sees them defend themselves against waves of
Hmm.
terrifying enemies. It's more action packed than it is scary, but it's still one of the best horror games to play with friends. So, as I said, if it's a game that you want to put like if you're missing that feeling of Call of Duty Zombies of what it used to be,
Hmm.
play Skull Ritual. It is going to be pretty much that
That sounds
same
awesome.
feeling again.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I have to put that. I did not know it was like that. I have to put that on my wish list. Um, okay, very cool. See, now this is why I love doing this stuff too, because I learn stuff from you quite often, dude. Um, and then some other mentions I want to talk about in April is another Crab's Treasure, which is on Game Pass still. I think that's a nice breakout indie game. It's a Souls-like game where you play as a crab.
Yep.
I think that'll be a nice. It's getting a lot of praise and love, so that could be nominated for a few categories for the Game Awards. Tales of Kenzera Zao is another one I think it's getting a lot of praise too. I believe it's an EA original, not necessarily indie game, but Metrovania style game, and very good story from what I hear. A lot of good praise and reviews and things like that. Mandalore's early access, so I don't know if that'll get any noms or anything like that for at the Game Awards. Star Blade has been selling very extremely well. Very solid game. Story I heard and keep hearing is not really great, but the gameplay overall phenomenal. Boss fights are fun. Keep updating it. They're going to bring it to PC at some point, but their contract, I think, due to contract with Sony, they can't really talk too much about the PC version in certain ways, and they gotta wait, I think, until probably have to wait like a year or some shit for the PC version of that game to come out. I want to play that shit on PC. I'll wait.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. There's another one in here. I thought on this list. Ayuden Chronicles 100 Heroes. That kit is on Game Pass as well. Another RPG. Uh, that is in the 2D HD style, I believe, and has gotten a
Yes.
lot of love as well. So I can say I'm getting some love at Game Awards as well in some manner, possibly at least a nomination or two. Um,
I
yeah,
see at least a nomination for it.
not too much else here that is, I think, of note that I'm looking on this list here. By the way, we're looking at a site that tells like upcoming games this year and it's talked about, shows a list of games that already came out, both indie and AAA, AA.
Yeah.
Something else we forgot to mention: Skull and Bones, another flop live service game that flopped.
Let's not talk about that one then.
I don't think it's gonna get any love. Helldivers 2, I think, as a newer title this year that came out as a live service game, is doing it right still. So I think that'll get like a nomination for a category Game Awards for something, at least. Oh, V Rising as well officially came out too, and I know you've been playing that. How do you like it?
Honestly, it's not bad. It's been pretty decent. I haven't gotten really too far into it,
Hmm.
but it's definitely nice because the little bit that I've played, like you pick you pick a spot, you can
Hmm.
build like your castle there if you want to live in and whatnot.
Hmm.
If you're out in the day, obviously you take damage from sunlight, things like that, the whole 9 yards. You pretty much fight everything that you see.
Hmm.
And you actually have to hunt down the actual hunters
Really?
in the game to get abilities, which is also
Oh,
very nice.
okay. That's very cool. Any like, is there like Dracula in there, or any other maybe like famous vampires in the game?
I don't know for sure because I haven't gotten in too far.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Okay.
from what I could see, like as like a roadmap for like getting like taking down the hunters and getting abilities and whatnot, it's
Mm-hmm.
separated by act. So like I'm in a sense act one right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't taken everyone down in that to progress to act two
Yeah.
and so on and so forth.
Okay. I definitely want to get that to play with you in the future, man. Sounds like a lot of
It's
fun.
definitely fun.
Yeah, I know there's PvP as well in it, to some extent. So very cool stuff. Yeah, we're talking about games starting to get into May here. Some of these games. So V Rising definitely I think would get a nom for a category, maybe Indie Game of the Year or
Hades too.
Hades 2 Early Access. I don't think that's gonna get anything unless they do an early access category or something. But Hades 2 is fucking amazing. I've been playing that, loving that.
Fucking Crow Country.
Oh
Let's not pass
yeah.
over Crow Country. Let us not
Yeah.
pass over Crow Country.
The Resident Evil inspired or like type of game, right?
Yeah, so pretty much Crow Country is the old school Resident Evil graphics. Like
Hmm.
it's more updated in a sense,
Okay.
like graphic wise, but it's the old school graphics and everything like that. It is I haven't played it. I've seen gameplay of it and it looks
Right.
so goddamn good. It brings
No,
back such a nostalgia from playing the
it's.
older Resident Evils to that. It's so
Mhm.
good.
I've seen the Steam reviews. They're like I think very positive or overwhelmingly positive. Maybe like it's been getting a lot of praise for indie game, so it deserves it in my opinion for that.
It is
Like
overwhelmingly positive for both recent and all reviews.
that's amazing. That's amazing. It just didn't like strike a chord with me per se because the visuals. I don't know what it is, but the visuals threw me off. But I may have to give it a fair shot in the future.
It
Um,
the visuals aren't going to be for everyone, especially with how it looks, but
yeah,
mm,
and
I've seen a lot of it.
just to remind you guys, visuals are not the number one thing for me. It's just certain games that when they look a certain way, they do throw me off, and it's like, don't know if I want to play that. Senua Saga Hellblade 2. Now, I did try to play this through Game Pass, my PC. Had a
And
lot
it
of
was
bugs and
very
issues.
laggy for you.
Yeah, and the issue I got is that I got an external SSD, but I cannot like I got first I was like I'm not gonna format this just so the Game Pass games can read it or whatever the heck. I'm like no, I had to put it in my HDD internal, and it should have ran fine. It should have, but no, it didn't. Now this has actually received some heavy criticism too because of how short it is. It's actually shorter than the first game. It's been criticized for being a walking simulator because you don't really do a lot of action compared to the first game. Like the first game had a bit more action to it with the story. This one, not as much. Puzzles are a bit easier. So it feels like they went for some reason they spent more resources and money on the higher fidelity and presentation and visuals and facial animations, things like that, over gameplay, puzzles, and essentially mechanics of the game, and apparently optimization too, to a degree. Don't get me wrong, I've seen other people play it, and they play it just fine, worked great for them. Just for me, it was a bad case where it didn't work for me on PC well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think this really deserves a nomination or anything. Maybe unless maybe music or storytelling or I don't know, something like that. But
With how short it is, I don't see storytelling. Maybe music. I just
yeah,
don't see storytelling.
yeah. Uh, or music, or maybe I think the category music score, best score, or something like that.
Yeah, I
Um,
could see that, but I don't see it winning. But maybe a
yeah.
nomination.
Now, a free to play game that came out, we tried X Defiant from Ubisoft, which is basically like was promoted to be, and I think even that some of the devs did this too, is like
It's
the
it's
rival to
supposed to
COD.
be a rival for COD,
Yeah.
but really all it is just a copy and paste of COD with a copy and paste of Overwatch on top of it.
Mm-hmm. We didn't try
That's
all the
it.
modes out, but we did say we would try to go back to it once it's been updated a bit more, give it another shot in the future, see how it is, see how it's
Like the
changed.
two modes that we did was very Overwatch feeling for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah. And that's fair. Like, and it didn't. We all felt, me, you, Len. We felt it wasn't true teamwork. There, it was mostly just sweaty.
It was so like filled with sweats just trying to
Mm-hmm.
go in and get the most kills. There was not a lot of teamwork happening whatsoever.
Yeah. Multiverses came back, and a lot of people were happy, but also upset because it felt slower. It legit felt. I think they've updated since then. I haven't played it recently though to see if they sped it up. But yeah, because apparently it's too fast in the beta. A lot of people, so then they slowed it down when they fully came out and launched. Free to play, has a fighter pass with it. Make that what you will. It is free to play. It has to make money somehow. Uh, Played it though with my group Otaku. Had a lot of fun with it. I'm actually really enjoying it again. They added Jason, some other characters to it. Agent Smith, I believe, is about to drop officially soon. So, uh, that could be nominated for Fighting Game of the Year, but I don't think it's winning over Tekken.
No,
No.
absolutely not. It is not going to win over Tekken.
Another roguelike that came out in early access, Rogue Prince of Persia. I really enjoyed that. I like Hades 2 a bit more, but this is from the devs of Dead Cells, so definitely feel the DNA in there and they've added some new stuff and it's really fun. So I do recommend trying that out at some point if you're into roguelikes. Let's see, coming on in June. Now we've had Destiny 2, The Final Shape expansion come
Eh,
out, and I don't really care about it. I know it's gotten some praise and things like that, but
I know Destiny 2 is still getting a lot of praise, and I know
yeah.
like the expansion, the final shape, and like the I
Mhm.
think the expansion before it as well got a lot of praise also. I just can't get back into it.
Yeah. That's fair. I same with me. Like, I would only get back into it if I had enough friends who want to get back into it. But the way you and other people explain how the grind is and how it's not at your typical RPG grind, it's different. I'm like, I'm good.
It's not the greatest like at
Mm-hmm.
all. And especially if you want to
Mm-hmm.
learn the story and everything, you have
Yeah.
to get the people to do the raid, and then you have to
Mm-hmm.
learn the mechanics for the which I understand learning the mechanics. It's fine. I understand that.
Yeah.
But the RNG in that is more bullshit than the RNG in Warframe.
Ooh. Oh God, no. Fuck that. Fuck that. Um.
To put it simply, people would make the same. So, like, if people wanted to be
Mhm.
a warlock,
Yeah.
people would make as many warlocks as possible
Hmm.
and rerun the raid multiple times just to get a fucking weapon from it.
Yeah. Wow.
Just a weapon because of how bad the RNG is.
That's oof. That's ridiculous. Nope. I'm good. A new asymmetrical. I think that's the right word. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. New asymmetrical game came
Yes.
out. That I want to get and try out. You and Lynn have played it. I've heard good things from both you and Lynn about the game.
It is a good game. Now, granted, I hate clowns.
Yeah.
absolutely hate clowns with a passion. If a clown were to walk up to me and try to like be all buddy buddy, I am stabbing the motherfucker.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
don't care. I don't like clowns. However, Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a fantastic game. It is not a, oh, you're gonna be human all the time or you're gonna be a clown all the time. It is random.
Yeah, it's an
You may
interesting
get
approach they
human a
took.
couple, like you may get human a few times in a row.
Hmm.
It can happen, but it will change up. You could either be a clown a few times in a row, you could be a human a few times in a row. It
Hmm.
changes up every single match,
I'm guessing
and
they
it's
probably did that
fantastic.
because they don't want to have people that always play the same, like you always play
Pretty much,
clowns.
they don't want people to constantly be a clown or to constantly be a human
Hmm.
and doing everything there. Also, it's kind of similar to not exactly, but closely similar to like Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Hmm.
where one, the XP is a really quick ass grind. Like
Good,
you
good.
you get XP for literally everything. You found someone, XP. You open a box, XP. You picked up an item, X. Like you literally just take a step and you get XP type thing.
That's actually good
It's
progression.
one of those. And also with the whole fact that the XP you get goes for everything. So if you hit level 12, like I think
Hmm.
level 12 is when you start unlocking stuff for like clowns and humans. Once you
Yeah.
hit level 12, you start unlocking everything for both sides. It's not just, oh, you did stuff for the clown, well, you're just gonna get clown XP. No,
Hmm.
it's both.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you get XP on both ends.
Nice. That's
It's just
awesome.
one bar, you just unlock everything on both sides, which is nice.
Yeah, I'm about to get it, play with you and Lynn sometime. I do like asymmetrical games. Like they started kind of being a thing. I think what would evolve back in the day. Uh,
I don't think Evolve started it, but I do think Evolve kind of like
Popularized it.
progressed it a bit
Okay.
more.
Okay.
And then I want to say the next one was Dead by Daylight,
Yeah, Dead by Daylight. Then we have Friday the 13th, and
or at
I think
least
of them.
maybe it was Friday the 13th, then Dead by Daylight,
Yeah.
and
Um.
then like everything else that's come through as well.
Hmm. Yeah. This would probably be multiplayer of the year game nom type of thing. I can see that happening, or maybe get some other type of nominations. What else we got here? Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. I don't really see that being nominated for anything because I think the game that's coming out later this year by the same company, Atlas, is gonna outshine this one. We'll also get to that a bit later though.
Elden Ring
June.
Shadow of the Erdtree
Yeah, expansion. So we
is the
got
next
Dawn
one,
Trail. We got Child of Erdtree expansion.
and
Final
Dawn
Fantasy
Trail
and
that
Final
has
Fantasy
also
14
just
Dawn
come out.
Trail. Both great expansions. I've been absorbed by Shadow Erdtree. Dawn Trail recently started. Played those 3 hours of story. I know you're holding off till you get your crafters done and gatherers done, or at least your crafters.
Almost, I'm almost there with my crafters though.
um, there was a lot of weird confusion going on with the Shadow Erdtree though about people complaining about being too hard. Found out that basically those people, or it's not a lot of those people that were complaining about being too hard, were just people that essentially were doing challenge runs of some sort, and some were not even aware they were doing it, and they were causing some information, some confusion in the community.
Man,
Basically, they weren't upgrading their stuff like they were supposed to, things like that. They thought that they could just go in it and just be good with what they had and just knock out the DLC. Like, no, that's not the way this is set up.
no,
They didn't pay attention to the stuff that Miyazaki was saying and some of the reports leading up to it, saying this is going to be harder. They didn't pay attention to any of the preview stuff that some of the content creators were doing, talking about it, saying you got to at least be level 150 or so, and enemies are going to hit harder, bosses are tougher, and there is an optional consumable you get. Now, honestly, I feel like you're going. I was going to skip on the consumable originally, but due to how difficult it is, because enemies hit so freaking hard, it's vital to get the consumables that help, increase your damage.
I'm
And
not even gonna say like I haven't gotten into it. Like I've played
yeah,
Elden Ring a little bit. This was on my old PC when it was like laggy. Like it played, but every so often it would skip
yeah,
some frames for me. I'm saying the people that are complaining about it being too hard have a fucking skill. If I can watch a dude go win level 1, no Skadu tree fragment upgrades, anything,
yeah.
and beat a motherfucker's ass with a fucking club and parry the bitch constantly, it's a fucking skill issue at that point.
No, I agree. I agree.
Like, if I could see someone go, "Heh, bonk," and literally just constantly do that
Yeah.
and also not take damage at
Yeah.
all, it's a fucking skill issue at that point. It's
I've
not
seen
because
that.
it's hard, it's a
Yeah.
fucking skill issue.
I've seen so much videos that one you're talking about as well on Twitter recently that, are showcasing clips and whatnot and footage basically showing how certain things in the game, whether it's like a weapon skill or a type of weapon or even a spell or something like that, essentially makes the DLC easier or something OP. Like I saw something earlier today. I think the weapon skill is called Sacred Blade. It's a holy type of damage. Used it on a Ghost Flame Dragon, killed it in one shot.
Yep.
So people that saying it's too hard either don't understand the game or how it's supposed to work or trying to do
Either
challenge
you don't
runs.
understand the game,
Yeah.
you've been away from the game for too long, so that way
Yeah.
when it dropped, you didn't give yourself enough time to relearn everything for the game mechanic wise, like playing, or you just suck. You just fucking suck. That's it.
But yeah, those of us that are veterans at this type of game and series don't feel that way. And I've noticed a lot of the veteran type players are not the ones saying it's too hard, things like that. No, we're having fun with it. I'm loving it. I'm digging it. I'm with it. Even though I was stuck on a Mesmer boss for 13 hours as part of a stream, I was still good.
You was stuck there for a while.
But the thing is, I didn't think it was too hard. It's just I couldn't figure out the strategy. I was trying different stuff and trying to figure out what the heck to do. And it wasn't so much a skill issue for me because I'm used to these games. It was more, and I didn't feel it was too hard either. I felt it was a very fair, balanced fight because I knew what I was getting into. It just had to find the right strategy against Mesmer. So that was the boss. So it just took me longer than other people, and that happens. Dawntrail expansion, been great so far. Story's good. Played 3 hours of it. Leveled up Viper. Viper's a lot of fun with the new class. If they do like a DLC of the year, expansion of the year category, Dawntrail
and Shadow of Erdtree are definitely going to be high contenders for it.
Yeah. Personally, I think I want Shadow of Erdtree to win. I don't know which one will win, but those will be the two DLC.
Dawntrail will win. I'm not gonna lie. I feel Dawntrail will probably win.
That's fair. I don't think there was any other expansions so far this year. Just those two major ones, right?
Just those two major ones. Which, speaking of Dawntrail, going into July, we have literally just within the first, like maybe 10. First Descendant, Zenless Zone Zero, and Once Human, in my opinion.
Yeah, some upcoming games there. We at the time of this recording, this is the day before First Ascendant comes out, and I'm excited about that. Honestly, hopefully it runs better. There was recent GPU drivers update to help make that game run better, apparently. So, PC at least. And yeah, I'm going to check it out. I'm hoping to play it with you at least a little bit from here time to time. And we just have some fun with it, see how it is. Zenless Zone Zero, I'm going to be checking out later this week, at least at the time of this recording. See how that is. It's going to be very action focused, very kind of flashy combat, kind of like Devil May Cry, anime Devil May Cry a bit. Very excited about that. Once Human, we played the beta, had a lot of fun with that. I'm looking forward to that.
I know I didn't put a lot of time into it, but I definitely enjoyed the bit that I played.
Yeah, for sure. So First Ascendant will be in a new game coming out full launch. That could be a nomination for a category, either RPG of the year or multiplayer of the year, things like that.
I see a nomination. So I will say this: as First Ascendant continues on, depending on how the community goes, I feel like if it's going to be a similar community for like 14, Final Fantasy 14 and Warframe, it'll definitely be in the top contending spot with those three for best community.
Yeah.
I do actively see that, but it all depends on how the players are going to be in it. Are they going to be helpful, kind of like how they are in Warframe and 14? Or are they going to be total dicks like they are in Call of Duty?
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
For sure. We don't. Moving on, we got Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn coming out later in July here on the 18th. It's going to be on Game Pass, so a very low barrier of entry to try it out. I'm going to try it through Game Pass. It is a Souls-like action RPG. I've played a demo. I believe the demo is still available. Try out the demo for yourself. See how you feel about it. Demo's a bit buggy, though. Fair warning, a bit buggy. as I couldn't complete it because I got bugged out where it wouldn't let me progress at a certain point. So I was like, well, I still had fun with it,
Yeah.
so it's fine. But yeah, they may have fixed it by now. Another one is Kunitsu Gami, Path of the Goddess, is Capcom who's making this, also coming out on Game Pass the day after Flintlock Siege of Dawn. And this is an action RPG strategy game, kind of tower defense like. I'm excited about this, and at the time it's recording, Capcom did their Capcom Next, where they showed a bit more details on it, talking about it, how you can upgrade your main character, upgrade the villagers you recruit, things like that. Very cool stuff there. They're doing a collaboration with Okami as well, apparently, where if they got a thing, there's a demo too. I forgot. There's a demo available right now, or has been out by the time this goes up on YouTube. Has been out. Try out the demo. But apparently they got a thing where basically, if there's enough people that play a demo, and I believe there's a certain goal or objective you got to reach, they will make the Okami collaboration items a free title update. I forgot the exact objective, but yeah, that's honestly pretty cool. That's a nice, cool incentive to check out a demo and to get gaming community together to complete this objective together as a community. So very cool stuff there. I'm looking forward to it. It's a weird Capcom game in a sense, but I think it's gonna be good. It's gonna hit that spot for certain people. I don't know what you think about that. If you're interested in checking it out, I forgot how much of a we're both Resident Evil fans, but I know Capcom is a company. I don't know how much of a fan you are.
I'm a fan of Capcom until they fuck shit up like Resident Evil 6 and Resident Evil 3 Remake.
That's fair. We did get
hold on. 6 wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
But it could have been a lot better.
And like during the Capcom Next, even the game director of Resident Evil 7 was talking about how, essentially they went away or went off track because of the last few Resident Evil games. They went more the action heavy focus.
And yeah, so they definitely brought back the horror with 7. Wasn't still not a whole huge fan of first person.
Yeah.
It's just not a me thing. But then again, I also remember the Resident Evils that were first person. That was a railgun shooter, not great on fucking controller.
Yeah.
So I understand the aspects of it, so I'm okay with it. Like, it's not terrible. But I remember the the fucking railgun shooter on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Not the greatest.
Oh man, I think you're talking about was it Dark Side Chronicles and Umbrella Chronicles? I think.
See, those were fine because they were on the Wii. And guess what? If you had the right attachments, you had a little gun for that. I had it. I would know. It was better. So I had an actual gun thing to put in the remotes to play the game, and it was fantastic. Loved every second of it.
Okay.
And as I said, those were railgun, yes, but it was with a Wii. It was when you literally had the motion controls. It's not like you're holding the controller going
right.
Pressing the buttons to go. No, if you moved, the fucking dot moved, your fucking crosshair moved, which was fantastic. So I loved them for that. But when you had to move, when you had to hold the fucking directional buttons to look, that kind of
Nah, I don't blame you for feeling that way. I own those games on PS3 and I still gotta play them to try them for myself. So I will go through that torture someday. This is I love RE. But the game director of Resident Evil 7 did confirm they're working on a new Resident Evil, which technically isn't a too big surprise. I mean, we technically kind of known about this for a long time because honestly, right after Village DLC dropped, there were reports and things like that about them essentially working on the next RE game. So this has already kind of been known, slightly leaked in a way. We just don't know.
Supposedly they're working on Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica remakes.
That too, but I think that's going to come after the new entry. Like Resident Evil 9 is the next one. And the remakes will come after.
The next one.
And I mean, me and you both have talked about this. I've done a video on this where there's reports that Leon and Jill apparently are going to be the protagonists for RE9 is the speculation.
It is speculation, but we'll see. Because technically 9 is supposed to end the winter line.
Exactly.
7 was in, 8 was in,
Mhm.
9 is supposed to end the winter line.
Yeah.
It said it at the end of 8. 9 will be the last installment of the winter line.
Mhm. And since
What
we're on
does
top
that
of
to say?
Capcom, since we're on top of Capcom here, Dead Rising Deluxe Remastered was talked about in the event earlier today with the Capcom Next. Um, so at least at the time it's recording, and basically, yeah, like it looks like a remake more than a remaster with the graphic overhaul and quality of life changes they made to the game. Like it has me excited. I actually want to get it in the future at some point and try it out. Because I've never been super big into Dead Rising, which is the other zombie franchise from Capcom. Not to say this is a bad game by any means. It is a goofy, silly zombie game. I don't know. It's just I've always been more of a Resident Evil fan when it comes to Capcom zombie games.
Which is
Or
fair. I
you know,
mean, Dead Rising is more just fuck around and find out type
yeah,
of
it's silly.
game.
Like you can put buckets on zombies. You know you can have Frank West dressed up in silly outfits. Use these
But
silly
you can have him
weapons.
look like a fucking idiot with a badass
Yeah,
weapon killing zombies.
yeah, and then like the Capcom infuses so many weird, goofy weapons in there too, like a Mega Man, I think, gun and something
Yep.
else. It's a goofy,
They even
goofy
fucking
time.
call out to Resident Evil by having a restaurant called Joe Sandwiches.
Oh my god, that's great.
Like it's a full call out to Resident Evil by
Mhm.
having a restaurant, a sub shop basically called
Yeah.
Joe Sandwiches.
Oh wow, that's wild. And
It's
then
fantastic.
when it comes to August, let's see. So we got, I would say, the big heavy hitter there, and technically from an indie dev, Game Science, Black Myth Wukong. This, I can see doing very well. Actually, I do an update video on that too because I found some new recent news about that. But yeah, I'm very excited for this. Another Souls like, but it's gonna be, I think, reported to be as similar difficulty as like Star Wars Jedi in a sense. So not gonna be as difficult as like an Elden Ring or like a Bloodborne or Sekiro. But similar, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I can see this being a nomination for either RPG of the Year or even indie game or even another nom in another category. Then we got Stormgate, which is an RTS that I think you and I are both looking forward to in some way. Um,
I
uh,
will say this, to not to take away from Stormgate.
yeah.
To those of you, I think it might have been like a year or two ago. Tactical Breach Wizards. If you remember that being like put out there, I would suggest looking into this as well because this is also another indie game,
Oh,
basically.
okay.
Well, I don't want to say it's like an actual indie game in a sense. It's by
Hmm.
a developer that has done other games before.
Hmm.
Like they've published other games.
Yeah.
But when you look at them as a developer, this is their first game they're developing.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it's by Suspicious Developments is the
Hmm.
publisher, but
Yeah.
the developer is Suspicious Developments Inc. Pretty much the same company in the sense.
Okay.
So it is their like first game they're actually developing. And if you've ever played games like Wastelands 3 or
Hmm.
anything that's like kind of like RTS based in that sense,
Or
like
XCOM like.
Wasteland 3, XCOM, like, yeah, this is pretty much what it is. In
Oh,
Tactical
okay.
Breach Wizards, you lead a team of renegade wizards in Kevlar through turn-based battles to unravel a modern conspiracy plot. Combine their unique spells in clever ways, or rewind time to try every crazy plan you can think of to punch a traffic warlock through a fourth-story window.
Wow.
That is the
Okay.
description for the game. So it's definitely a game I'm extremely looking forward to, and they
Hmm.
do have a demo out for the game.
Oh, they
This
do. All right.
game, they have a demo out, and this game is coming out August 20th. Can't fucking wait.
I am going to check that out. I'm going to check that out because yeah, you usually don't. You don't steer me wrong when it comes to game suggestions. So.
I would absolutely not steer you wrong with that. That I've been waiting for that for
Mhm.
so long. Essentially, when they had a release date and it said and like they put whatever they put for like the release date when they first talked about it. It
Mhm.
literally said, in a sense, it didn't say to be announced. It
Yeah.
pretty much said whenever we feel like telling you.
Right, right. Okay.
Like they didn't put TBA. They didn't want like, oh, like it's to be announced. They
Yeah.
literally went, we'll tell you whenever.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like it's PC only. Okay. Cool,
Yep.
cool. Something else that's coming out actually the day after Black Myth Wukong and the game you just mentioned, Inotria, Last Song. Another Souls like, but I think it's gonna be like overshadowed by Black Myth Wukong. I think that's not gonna really be on much people's radar at all. Um, but I think that's gonna be a solid game. I tried out the demo. Demo's pretty fun. So I hope they just keep improving upon it. And hopefully, it gets some love. But Black Myth Wukong, I think, is gonna be the bigger hitter there. Not much else. I think in August,
In August, not really that I saw.
Visions of
Unless
Mana.
you're like, unless you're into crafting
Mhm.
survival style games, I'd say Core
Yeah,
Keeper, but you'd have to be like
yeah.
in that style of game. And if you care about World of
And
Warcraft, you have
and
the
I'm
World
sorry,
Within.
sports fans. Well, maybe I'm not sorry, but fuck Madden. Anyway,
I'm not sorry. I've never been a fan of
yeah.
any type of sports game.
Stormgate is an RTS though I'm actually looking forward to. Alex has got me into RTSs more than ever. So Stormgate, I'm
That's
hoping
some
that's
game.
co-op. I'm hoping Stormgate's co-op, and yeah, I want to check that out. That's August 13th. Visions of Mana, the newest game in that series, coming out August 29th. So I think that's going to do really well for those that are fans of that. But I don't think it's going to be too popular. May get some nods at Game Awards, but yeah. September, biggest game in my opinion for September, I would say, is Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. We're both looking forward to that, but
I'm
don't
looking
know if
forward
we'll...
to that. And there's also Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl that I'm
Ah,
also
I just
looking
saw that.
forward
Yeah, that
to.
is coming out too. Yeah, that's gonna be on Game Pass at least, so we will check that out through that way. Both those games are looking really good. I'm excited. Stalker 2 gives me vibes of Last Light, I believe. So but it's also different from that series as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love Warhammer games. Space Marine 2. I need to play the first game. I own it on PS3. I haven't beaten it yet, but yeah, I want to go through Space Marine 2. And I mean Space Marine 1, sorry. Space Marine 2 is a sequel. Takes place, I think, 100 years from the first game. So yeah, very cool stuff there. Let's see. We got Throne and Liberty, which is a new free-to-play MMO RPG. So that might be interesting. That might get a nom for a category as well. Frostpunk 2 apparently has been moved to September. I think that got delayed from July or August to September. So that's another RTS or strategy city builder. Lollipop Chainsaw Repop. That's a remake of Lollipop Chainsaw coming up. We got Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom for the Switch. I think that'll be pretty solid. As far as what's the lineup here, shaping up to be. Not on this list though is the Dead Rising Deluxe Remastered Edition, which is coming out in September as well.
Well, we also don't have Dragon Age Veilguard on the list either.
No, that's
It
supposed to be
has not.
fall.
This hasn't been updated.
Yeah, that now I feel like Dragon Age, the Veilguard is possibly the one to go up against Rebirth in terms of Game of the Year and RPG of the Year. Like I think those would be very
I
close.
definitely seeing it having like RPG of the year.
Mm,
Me, I see it being a top contender for nothing against Dragon Age. I love Dragon Age, but I see
mhm.
it being a top contender for um game of the year. But it also depends on how it's going to be when it comes
Yeah,
out. I know a lot of people are like, why does it look like that? That's how
yeah,
Dragon Age always looked. Shut the fuck up.
right, right. I mean, I think it's gonna play well. There is some downgrades to some things of the game, like the ability wheel and abilities you can use per character, things like that, is lower than previous games, and the parties down to 3 instead of from 4.
Well, they're doing it more of a Mass Effect run now with the
Right.
party size.
So
Which I
yeah, we have
don't
to wait and
mind
see.
because that kind of gives you it kind of lets you do
Mhm.
tank, DPS, heal type
Yeah,
thing, which is
yeah,
kind of similar to what you could do in Mass Effect. Not really the same instance, but you
hmm
had the strength, the tech,
hmm
and the biotic. And you
fair,
could,
fair.
depending on who you choose as a party member, you could have it be well-rounded, basically. And also
Yeah,
depends on what you play as well.
that's
Because I
fair.
recently started the lovely, haven't been back on it yet, but the lovely viewer choice Mass Effect run of 1, 2, and 3. Haven't decided on Andromeda yet, but of 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
So with that being the case, I have my chat choosing all of what I'm doing.
right.
So if they want to kill a character, guess what? We're killing the character.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be chat's game. So however it
Mm,
turns out at the end, we can blame chat for everything.
true, true. Moving on here, October is shaping to really be packed. So we got Silent Hill 2, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Metaphor ReFantazio, which is the game from Atlas that I think is going to overshadow the remake or expanded version of Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. We also got Super Mario Party Jamboree, a new Super Mario Party game. We also got Sonic Cross Shadow Generations, Life is Strange Double Exposure. So lot of games there, and I think the new COD is coming out in October, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
And that's
I
coming on Game
forget.
Pass, but a lot of good stuff there. Some highlights for me personally is Silent Hill 2, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Now, I don't see Dragon Ball Sparking Zero stealing Fighting Game of the Year. Probably get a
Yeah,
nom.
absolutely. It'll get a nomination, but not stealing
mm.
it.
Silent Hill 2, I think we get nomination for Action Adventure Game of the Year, kind of like how Alan Wake 2, I believe, did. Maybe even Game of the Year nom as well. Super Mario Party Jamboree, I think, would be a good party game. And also, Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of the Seven. I forgot that's also coming out for the JRPG fans out there. Life is Strange Double Exposure. I don't know how well it's going to do. I mean, I think it'll be all right.
I
I
would
think
say
it'll
they're
do well
not my
enough.
style of game,
Right.
but it looks great.
Yeah.
Just not my style of game.
Um,
I'm more of a watch than play when it comes to those games.
right, exactly. November is fairly light.
So there's only
Assassin's
one thing in November that I care about. I don't give a
so,
shit about Assassin's Creed.
right.
Slitterhead.
I was about to say Slitterhead, dude. I
That
know
is
what
the
you
only thing I fucking care about
that
in
game.
November.
That game, and I don't blame you because that game looks fucking amazing. So I'm looking for that too, and we love horror games. So, yeah, as a horror game fan, like if I'm able to get Silent Hill 2 October, then go to Slitterhead for November for horror game wise, hell yeah, hell yeah. Assassin's Creed Shadows, I'm still looking forward to that. I'm still big, not well, maybe not a super big, but I'm still a fan of Assassin's Creed as a franchise. I'm just worried about what Ubisoft is going to be doing with that and going forward, and they just sort of messed with the lore a bit and whatnot. So we'll see. Um, Other thing, there's rumors that I think either Avowed or Indiana Jones is supposed to come out from Xbox either in that month as well. One of those two got possibly. Nothing for December. We don't know what's happening, but there's a lot of games, guys. The state of games is really good. So we may have not had some of the heavy hitters you expect here from Sony or other people in the industry, but a lot of good indie titles, a lot of good AA, AAA type titles here. We've talked about the first half of the year, and last half that's coming up. Some free to play stuff here as well. Looking forward to. So it's stacked. Like this is still a good year of gaming. Maybe not as good as last year.
Yeah, I'd say the year's good. I mean, it hasn't been fantastic the last couple of years.
Oh, so for you, the last couple of days. So 2023 was still kind of like a lower end for you.
I'd say like the last few years. Like, I mean, sure, there was a lot of games that came out. Don't get me wrong, but it also wasn't a lot of games that caught my interest.
That's fair. That's fair.
This year, like, there's quite like we've gone through. You already could like a lot of the excitement and stuff that I've gone through for the games that are coming out, like that are already out and coming out this year. Like, I have excitement for quite a few games.
Oh yeah,
This year than I did the past few years combined.
that's fair. Yeah, you definitely. I love to hear that from you, man. I'm glad you're excited for more games this year in general than you were the past couple of years. So it's a good time for games. We're eating good. Sorry, it's a good time for games. Wow, it's a good time for gamers. Sorry, we're eating good.
It's a good time for games, yeah.
I think overall, I think we're still eating good as gamers, and with everything we're getting spoiled with, from free to play to budget titles to even full on AAA titles as well.
I will say, going back to the Capcom thing.
Yeah.
Capcom is fucking us. To those of
They
you who don't know what I am talking about, I am talking about the fucking originals. Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 being put onto GOG. I don't care where they go, but they're being put onto GOG without all of the extra fucking content from the other versions. What we are getting is literally just the PC ports. That's it. We're not getting what Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 Remastered got, where it's the older games and all the other games and plus new content. We're not
Mhm.
getting that. No, we're getting 1, 2, and 3 of Resident Evil, which I'm happy with, put onto GOG. No updated graphics, no updated look. So if you want an updated look, you have to download the Rebirth patch
yeah.
that they have out there. By the way, it does work with it. I haven't done it myself, but I've seen a video about it. It does work. And if you want to do a randomizer, which by the way, if I remember correctly, the N64 had a built-in randomizer to it for Resident Evil 2. If you want a randomizer, you have to wait for BioRAN to get it working on these versions, which
Oof.
which the BioRAN, I don't know if it's one or multiple people,
Mhm.
but BioRAN is currently working on trying to get it working for these versions coming to GOG
Yeah.
because a lot of people can't get the original PC ports up and running on their computers. This is going to be a nice step for them to be able to play these games and run them.
Yep.
However, Capcom is fucking us on content when it comes to those games.
I wasn't sure if you're gonna bring that up. Honestly, I'm actually
Oh, I
glad you
was gonna
did.
bring it up. I
I'm
was
glad you.
definitely gonna bring it up.
I'm glad you did because I honestly forgot about that since we're going with these other games. But yeah, that's a good point. Very good points there. Yeah, Capcom. I love you, Capcom. But yeah, me and Alex are both the type we're gonna call you out on your shit when you're fucking up. We want you to do better. Come on now.
It's just they literally have separate content on different versions for each game,
Yeah.
and we're not even getting it.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense when you got the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection that's got extra content put in there that wasn't originally in there with those versions of the games as part of that collection. It's like, why are you being lazy about your Resident Evil trilogy, in comparison?
I think it is.
So that's very weird. Capcom, I don't know what's going on. Hopefully they fix it in the future, maybe someday. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Otherwise, the modders are going to have to just do it for us.
Oh, they're gonna have to get it all in and running. The Capcom's not gonna do it. Like, for instance, fucking Deadly Silence,
Mhm.
which was, if I remember correctly, is the remake is a DS port, an enhanced version of the
Mhm.
original Resident Evil for the Nintendo DS port.
Yeah.
Enhanced version, mind you. So better looking graphics, better better place out, like things like that. Better
Yeah.
overall.
Right.
Had content in it. There was a rebirth mode. There was a
Mhm.
classic mode. There's a multiplayer feature apparently for it as well, which was only wireless support LAN only stuff.
Yeah.
Don't know too much about the aspect of it, but there was apparently a multiplayer version of it. Like also new outfits for characters, things like that.
Yeah.
Why are we not getting that?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Capcom, dude. I don't know who decided that stuff at Capcom, but I don't know. Not a good call. Not a good call. But that's gonna be it from us. Unless you got anything else, Alex.
That's pretty much it for me.
Okay. Good talk. Had a great discussion here. Love doing this type of stuff. So we'll figure out what we'll do for next month. But yeah, wanted to talk about the state of games this year so far, from the first half to the last half. We got to look forward to. Now, obviously, for the last half, it's hard to tell what might be getting nominations for Game Awards, things like that. But from where they're shaping up, a lot of them look really promising, good foundations, things like that. Very excited to check them out overall. And yeah, also don't forget, for those that watch this on YouTube, please check out the links in the description below. There's the Patreon. You can get early access to check out the podcast on Patreon. Otherwise, you'll wait for it on YouTube. But there's also the YouTube memberships as well, where you get early access to watching on YouTube as well when I do schedule to go there as well for that. So keep that in mind as well. And it's just an optional way you can support and help be part of the backbone for the channel to help keep me going, making content for you guys. So we and Alex can kind of say what the fuck we want. We can cuss as much as we want. And say our opinions as much as we want when it comes to how these game companies are and games are and things like that. So yeah. That's gonna be it from us, though. Thank you guys for checking us out. See you next time.